So when we hooked up last time, we went ahead and created a MIDI node right here on D1, and this is how it sounds. Awesome, huh? So anyhow, in this video, I want to go ahead and show you yet another way that you might go about creating a MIDI node. Okay, for this example, let's go ahead and get into the construct window, and then let's go ahead and grab an X drum. And with this X drum, I'm going to just grab the first thing that comes to mind. There you go, S1 drummer. All right, let me go ahead and grab a snare. And you know what? I know what snare I want. I want a DW right there. All right, so now, there we go. I am going to combine these two snares together just because. All right, so now I'm going to get back into my mapping window. And you see here, we're in the instrument tab now. All right, that's the MIDI node tab. Here's the instrument tab. If your X drum is not already selected, go ahead and select it by right-clicking or control-clicking, okay? And right here, you will see all of the articulations that pertain to that X drum. We can go ahead and preview them by left-clicking. All right, sounds like a winner. Sounds like a winner. Let's see here. I think we're just going to go ahead and stick with the right articulation. So now let's go ahead and grab it, and we're going to drag it on top of our snare. But wait a second, man. That ain't a snare anymore. That's some kind of pink key. What is that? Well, that's Superior's way of letting us know, hey, Hoss, this key is presently taken up by something else, okay? But you see, I don't like that because now I want my snare drum back, okay? So what can we do? Well, let's go ahead and go right here to presets, MIDI, and then default. And now we got our snare drum back. But what happened to our MIDI node? Well, let's get into our MIDI node. And you see it hadn't gone anywhere, but there is no note associated with that. So we have two choices. We can go ahead and grab the MIDI node and drag it to a new note, or we can go ahead and press the learn key. All right, let me go ahead and do that. Let's do C#1. There we go. So now C#1 is my MIDI node, okay? Now let's get back to where we were a moment ago. By right-clicking or control-clicking our X drum, I want to go ahead and grab the right articulation, and I'm going to just drag it on down here to this other snare. And then we see the familiar replace window. It says this key is already being used. What do you want to do? Well, let's go ahead and join it this time. So now whenever we hit D1, we are hearing that snare and that snare right there. Now, it might sound a little funky right now, but I'm just trying to give you some examples here. You know what I mean? So why settle for that, though? Let's go ahead and take this another step further. Let's go ahead and grab the room mics from another studio. Okay, so let me get back into my construct window. I'm going to go ahead and get another X drum. And then let's go ahead and grab something from the Hit Factory. And I chose the Hit Factory because I want that room ambience as it kind of trails off to the right. You see that there, how it trails off to our right? So let's go ahead and get into the microphone assignment because all I want is the room. Okay, and let's go ahead and press reset. And then let me go ahead and grab ambient mid and drag it to new, and then ambient mid effects right there. Stack it on top. And now let's go ahead and do ambient far and ambient far effects and stack it on top and press OK. Now, all we're hearing is that room. Okay, so let's get into the mixer and make sure everything's copacetic. Let's see here. The only sounds we're getting is out of the ambient mid channel. So let's go ahead and zero these channels out by pressing Command, click, or Control click on a PC. And now let me go ahead and get into the edit menu here. Let's see, it wasn't cut on. So now we've got it engaged. And now whenever we hit it, there we go. All right, so this one might be a little bit too hot. I like that. I like that. Let's bring this down just a little bit. That's cool. Let's see if it sounds any different if I shorten that reverb. Nah, I like it to go full throttle. Let's see here. Excellent. All right, so let's go ahead and get back into our mapping window. Okay, and now instead of dragging this center articulation to D1, let's just go ahead and get back into our MIDI Nodes tab so I can show you another way to do it. Let's go ahead and right-click X drum 2. And just like before, whenever we were right-clicking on the china and the snare, here are the articulations associated with X drum 2. So I'm going to preview it by left-clicking, and I know that I want that center articulation. And so now, while MIDI Node 2 is selected, I'm going to go ahead and grab the center articulation and drag it to the members box. Boom. And so now we have just created a second MIDI node that has 3 articulations or members combined. And so now whenever we press that D1 on our keyboard, we'll have a real big sound. Now that we have that, though, let's go ahead and name it. I think I'm going to name this one Big Snare. All right, and press OK. And then while we're at it, let's go ahead and right-click to select MIDI Node 1 and rename it Funky Sound. All right, so now we've got a funky sound and then a big snare. Excellent, man. Okay, so there you have it. A couple of different ways to create a MIDI node. Now, you can start mixing and matching these ways of creating MIDI nodes, and before you know it, man, you're going to have a whole slew of MIDI nodes going on. So let's see, just out of curiosity, how many MIDI nodes we can get. All right, I'm just, da-da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da-da. Earlier, I think I got up to 70-something before I got tired of doing it. Now, once you create enough and you're really happy with them, don't forget to come down here, go to Presets, then MIDI Nodes, and save as, let's see here. Save as our first MIDI node. And now, the next time we want to get our first MIDI node, we'll go to Presets, MIDI Nodes, User Preset, and then it's right there, our first MIDI node. See that there? But I do appreciate y'all watching. Now, I want you to stick around because in the next video, we're going to quickly run over the member velocity control section right here, and I'm going to show you just what this bypass does, okay? Thanks so much for taking the time to watch. I hope you enjoyed it. Bye-bye.